In 1962, Warren Buffett reached a milestone few young investors have ever achieved. His net worth surpassed $1 million. At just 31 years old, he had already transitioned from a driven young entrepreneur to a highly skilled investor with disciplined habits and an analytical mind. But that milestone was just the beginning. What followed over the next 2 decades is one of the most remarkable compounding stories in modern financial history. A journey that transformed Buffett from a millionaire managing private partnerships into a billionaire at the helm of one of the world's most successful companies. This story is not a vague legend. Every step, every decision, every investment can be traced along a timeline of real events, actual returns, and carefully executed strategies. These are the milestones that turned Buffett's ambition into tangible wealth, the consolidation of Buffett Partnership Limited. By the early 1960s, Warren Buffett had already created several small partnerships with family and friends. In 1962, he made a crucial decision. He merged all these separate partnerships into one consolidated entity, Buffett Partnership Limited. At the time, the partnership managed around $7.2 million in capital, with over $1 million of that belonging to Buffett personally. This consolidation wasn't just about efficiency. It gave him more operational leverage, increased capital under management, and allowed him to pursue larger, more lucrative investments. Within months of merging the partnerships, Buffett began acquiring shares of a struggling textile company called Berkshire Hathaway, which traded for about $7.50 per share, despite a book value of more than $20.20. This discrepancy between market price and intrinsic value was exactly the type of inefficiency Buffett sought. Although this textile investment would later prove to be a long-term challenge, it marked the start of using corporate acquisitions as a platform for compounding capital. Early wins and lessons from opportunistic investments. The early years of the Buffett partnership were marked by opportunistic deals that taught critical lessons in patience, risk, and leverage. In 1963, Buffett achieved a notable win with Dempster Mill, a company he purchased for less than its liquidation value. After a careful review of the company's books and assets, he sold it for a $2.3 million profit, showcasing the power of identifying undervalued businesses. Each of these early successes reinforced a key Buffett principle: patience, research, and disciplined decision-making beat speculation. By the mid-1960s, Buffett's wealth trajectory was accelerating. His partnership had begun consistently outperforming the market, sometimes doubling returns compared to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Yet he remained focused on undervalued opportunities, sticking to Benjamin Graham's principles: find assets selling for less than their intrinsic value, understand the business, and maintain a margin of safety. Taking control of Berkshire Hathaway. In 1965, Buffett made a pivotal move that would define his future. He took control of Berkshire Hathaway. Initially, it was a struggling textile company, one that Buffett later described as the worst business I ever bought. Yet the acquisition provided a vehicle for future investments and became the foundation for the empire he would build. Owning Berkshire allowed Buffett to centralize operations and eventually pivot the company into an investment powerhouse. By 1968, Buffett's personal wealth had grown to approximately $25 million, while the underlying partnerships were valued at more than $100 million. That year, Buffett recorded one of the highest annual returns in his partnership history, a compounded 58.8% return, which demonstrated both the effectiveness of his strategies and the accelerating power of compounding. The mid to late 1960s were a turning point, moving him from a successful small-scale investor to someone with a platform capable of generating substantial wealth. The decision to close the partnerships. Despite the enormous success of his partnerships, by 1969, Buffett made another bold decision. He closed the Buffett Partnership Limited. By then, the partnership held roughly $100 million in assets, and Buffett's personal share was about $25 million. Shutting it down allowed him to shift focus entirely to Berkshire Hathaway, which was becoming more than just a textile business. It was a platform for insurance operations and other investments that could provide large-scale compounding opportunities. This move illustrated a key Buffett trait: strategic focus. He understood that managing small partnerships had limits in terms of scalability. Berkshire Hathaway, with its larger capital base and corporate structure, offered a far greater potential for compounding wealth over decades. Insurance float, the secret engine of compounding. One of Buffett's most important innovations during this period was leveraging insurance float, money held temporarily by insurance companies before claims were paid. Buffett started acquiring insurance operations, including National Indemnity in 1967, and later increasing Berkshire's stake in GEICO, which he had been following since his early partnership days. Insurance float gave Buffett a virtually interest-free source of capital to invest. Essentially, other people's money became fuel for his investments. This allowed him to take larger positions in high-quality companies without needing to raise additional equity or debt. Over time, insurance float became one of the most critical engines for Berkshire's growth, enabling Buffett to compound returns at an unprecedented pace. Partnership with Charlie Munger, evolving strategy. Another turning point came with Buffett's partnership with Charlie Munger, who joined Berkshire as vice chairman in 1978. Munger challenged Buffett's earlier cigar butt approach, buying mediocre companies at cheap prices, and encouraged a focus on great companies at fair prices. This subtle but profound shift transformed Buffett's strategy. Instead of constantly hunting for undervalued scraps, he could invest in high-quality businesses with enduring competitive advantages, reliable cash flows, and the ability to reinvest profits efficiently. Investments like See's Candies, purchased in 1972, and later Coca-Cola in 1988, epitomized this strategy. Both companies had strong brands, consistent earnings, and pricing power. These acquisitions allowed Berkshire's capital to compound at high rates with much lower risk than Buffett's earlier opportunistic investments. The growth of Berkshire in the 1970s and 1980s. Throughout the 1970s, Berkshire Hathaway became more than a textile company. It became a diversified investment platform. The insurance operations grew, float increased, and Buffett's capital base expanded. By 1978, Berkshire's book value had grown approximately 19-fold since Buffett acquired the company. By the early 1980s, shares of Berkshire began reflecting this extraordinary growth, trading at over $1,000 per share in 1983. By 1985, Buffett's personal wealth surpassed $1 billion, marking the culmination of a 23-year journey from millionaire to billionaire. What's striking is that these results weren't based on luck or one-time big wins. They were the product of strategic compounding, reinvesting profits, leveraging insurance float, and evolving his strategy to include high-quality companies that could grow year after year. The role of compounding and patience. Buffett's journey demonstrates how patience and long-term thinking amplify compounding. In the 1960s, growth was steady, sometimes appearing modest. By the 1970s and 1980s, the same principles applied to a larger capital base, producing explosive results. Reinvested earnings, insurance float, and disciplined acquisitions all combined to accelerate wealth accumulation. Buffett often stresses that compounding is not about fast wins, but uninterrupted growth over decades. His strategy of holding high-quality companies, reinvesting profits, and avoiding speculative trading ensured that even small annual gains turned into massive long-term growth. Lessons from the 1 million to 1 billion journey. Turning $1 million into $1 billion took more than skill. It took vision, discipline, and the ability to evolve strategies as circumstances changed. Buffett's journey teaches several lessons: the importance of compounding over time, leveraging scalable platforms like insurance float, identifying enduring businesses with competitive advantages, and the value of strategic partnerships, particularly with people like Charlie Munger. from merging partnerships in 1962 to controlling Berkshire Hathaway in 1965, growing his fortune through opportunistic deals in the late 1960s, leveraging insurance float in the 1970s, and finally evolving into a high-quality business investor with Munger. Every step contributed to the compounding engine that eventually delivered billionaire status. By 1985, Buffett's wealth crossed the $1 billion mark, a milestone achieved not by a single stroke of luck, but by decades of disciplined, intelligent, and patient investing. The takeaway. Buffett's story is the ultimate example of long-term thinking, compounding, and evolution. Starting with $1 million, he built a framework that turned capital, patience, and intelligence into $1 billion. And the lessons aren't just for Wall Street. They apply to anyone looking to build wealth, influence, or success over time. Start early, focus on high-quality assets, reinvest gains, and above all, allow compounding to work its magic. And if you want to see how Buffett built his first $1 million, the foundation that made all of this possible, check out the previous video in the series. It breaks down his early partnerships, first investments, and the entrepreneurial steps that set him up for extraordinary compounding later on. If you value long-term thinking over short-term noise, consider subscribing. Until next time, stay rational.